Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my Game of Thrones Legends mobile game content. So today I want to bring you a video this style of video has been long in the making for me. This is something that people have been asking me for ever since I started making content on this channel about this game, and I've kind of held back. It is the character deep dives where I take one character and I talk about that character and kind of, theory craft the uses behind that character and kind of talk about their skills and their abilities and things like that. The reason why it's took me so long to do this is because I'm not just that guy that just wants to throw content out there as fast as possible so that I can get subscribers and get views and all that. I'm not about that with my channel. If you've watched me on this game and the content I produced, you've understood that I'm not here to make money. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this because I love the game. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I don't have to be beholden to any company and giving them pleasing reviews because they're my overlords. I do what I do because I do what I do, and I'm going to shoot it to you straight, and if it sucks, I'm going to tell you, and if it's good, I'm going to tell you. And so that's kind of also one of the reasons why I've held back on this, is because I just didn't want to do like a lot of people and just throw content out there and regurgitate it out there so that you guys could have something to watch. I'm more about putting out a video when I know what I'm talking about. And that was one of the reasons why I've kind of shied away from doing the character deep dives, the hero deep dives, because I wanted to learn how to use the heroes first before I did this kind of a video. I wanted to actually learn about their powers and use them and get familiar with them so that I could actually talk about them from a place of knowledge and not just trying to get views or something like that, like a lot of other creators do. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about one person in particular. This guy right here. He's going to be the first of my hero deep dives because, Tyrion, wow. If you watched the Game of Thrones show on HBO, you saw the character that Tyrion Lannister was played by Peter Dinklage. And that was an amazing role. He was an amazing actor in that role. He probably was one of my top 2 characters in the Game of Thrones on HBO series. I'm just going to put it out there. It was number 1, probably Daenerys, number 2, Tyrion. And they could flip-flop based on the episode because I'm telling you, I just loved Daenerys and I loved the Mother of Dragons whole thing. But Tyrion, wow, was he not the quintessential character? He was amazing. That part was just built for him and his acting ability. But anyway, this is Game of Thrones Legends matching game we're talking about. So Tyrion Lannister as a hero in this game, when you first start, they offer you the deal to buy Tyrion Lannister shards right off the bat. You're a fool if you do not buy that. I'm just going to tell you, this is one purchase that I can wholeheartedly say that you must get. If you are going to play this game, you have to have Tyrion Lannister. That's just all there is to it. Tyrion is one of those characters that I put him in my party the first day, and I haven't taken him out of my party yet. He has been in my party ever since I started playing this game. There has not been 1 second where he's been out of my party. Well, okay, I'll have to walk that one back. When I do my Free Cities team, that's about the only time that I'm playing a team that does not involve Tyrion, because he's just so good. The way he synergizes with other players is the strength behind Tyrion. So let's go ahead and look at his skills so we can talk about him just a little bit. If you look at his leader ability, let's start there. When Tyrion is debuffed, he has a 25% chance to remove a debuff from his allies, and plus he gets +5 hit points. Now, I'm not really sure, as leader abilities go, whether that stacks up among the top leader abilities or not, because honestly, I hardly ever use his leader ability. And it's not because his leader ability is bad. Let me just say that. It's not because his leader ability is bad. His leader ability has uses. Like if you're facing a bleed team that's putting bleed on you like crazy, that may be a really good time to put his leadership ability on, because when he gets a bleed, he can take a bleed away from his allies. I mean, that could be huge, because as you know, when bleed stacks up on you and you've got somebody that does a lot of damage, they're going to kill themselves, and that's just how it is. So this leadership ability could be really good. At 5 stars, which I obviously am not at, I'm at 3. I'm maxed out at 3 stars right now. Chance to remove a debuff increased to 50% and another +5 hit points. That's really good. The reason why I don't have his leadership ability on the party at all times is just honestly because of Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's leadership ability is just so good that she's the leader always. That's just how it is. She's just the leader always, because her ability is too critical to my strategy to remove. So his leadership ability is great. In the absence of other characters with better leadership abilities like Rhaenyra, totally put it on, and it will probably do work for you. Now let's talk about one of his skills, an alternate approach. Anytime Tyrion takes damage, he gains +3% damage resistance to that type of damage for 3 turns. This is great because it goes off constantly. So Tyrion is constantly, every time he gets hit, whatever type of damage hits him, he gets a damage resistance to. And it can have multiple at the same time. So let's say Tyrion gets hit this turn with physical. He gets a 3% damage to physical. Let's say he gets hit next turn with an AoE fire. Well, then he gets a 3% damage to fire, and they both can be active at the same time. They only last for 3 turns, but it is a buff that you get constantly, because Tyrion is a target a lot of times, because people like to take him out because they don't want you to be able to use his other leadership or his other skill that's so potent. Now I'm at 3, so at 4 stars you can get this to level 2, which damage resistance granted to the whole team. That's awesome. I would love to have Tyrion at 4 stars so that I could unlock that ability, because that would be very great. I would love that. And then at 6 stars, damage resistance is increased to 6%. I mean, it just keeps on getting better. The gift that just keeps on giving. I mean, it's good. His stats bonus is 10% to defense. That's great. He is sort of tanky. He does take a lot of damage. He can really stand there and take it. At 7 stars, he gets +10% hit points. So he gets 10% defense plus 10% hit points. So that's really cool. Then you get into his skill. And this is where Tyrion really super shines. I mean, this ability right here is so cool. And it has so many uses that I honestly am surprised that it never got nerfed. I think the fact that it is already very slow is probably the reason why it never got messed with. Because had it been anything faster than a very slow, it would have just been too ridiculous. A slow, a normal, a fast, a very fast. Had they came out with this skill as any of those speed ranks, it would have been nerfed back down to very slow, because that's just all there is to it. It's a skill that does damage, it's a skill that does physical damage, and it's a skill that grants other players, whoever you put it on, stamina, additional stamina gain, which is huge. Stand as my champion. You'll see right now I have it at level 3 because I'm 3 stars. And at 4 stars, I can upgrade it to level 4, which gives another 3% stamina gain on top of the 5% that it already gives, for a total of 8% stamina gain. That would be huge for me, and I would love nothing better than to have Tyrion at 4 stars, because that would be big for me. But his skill says Tyrion marks an ally to represent him in trial by combat. So if you know the Game of Thrones HBO show, you kind of remember where he asked Bronn to fight for him, and those kind of situations is what this skill is built around. And he was not known as the fighter, even though he did engage in battle, but he was more suited to being the guy that pushed the buttons, pushing the pawns around the board. That was Tyrion's strength, because he was a genius. At the start of every turn, those people that he marks gains 5% stamina. When they use their stamina ability, they deal 290% max hit point damage to all enemies. Let me repeat that. To all enemies. So this is where Tyrion's skill really shines, because let's just take one of the examples that I have where I make this useful for me. Let's go into a campaign battle, and I'll show you my team, and I'll show you kind of what I'm meaning. In any kind of battle where you have Tyrion in your party, you have multiple ways to play his skill. Now, you can... Sorry, I had to get a drink. You can take his skill and put it on him immediately, first turn. That way he regenerates stamina faster, and he's able to get his skill up again quicker. That's smart, and that's a very valid play style. Or you can do something else with it. You can put it on somebody else. Where this really shines is when you have somebody like Ned in your party, because Ned is just a beast. Ned takes a ton of damage. He does a ton of damage. He taunts, so he makes everybody have to focus on him and keeps the attention off of the weaker people in your party. Ned is just a freaking beast. That's just all there is to it. Ned is top 3 of characters, hero characters in this game, right up there with Tyrion. But when you take Tyrion's skill and you put it on somebody like Ned, wow, that becomes brutal, because what will happen is Ned will then do an AoE attack, which is area of effect, attack all enemies, and he'll wipe parties. He'll hit a whole party and then strike one more time with a tremendous amount of damage, because he does a butt ton of damage. Ned does. He has one of the highest single DPS damage in the game. And when you take that ability and you put it on all enemies in the party, oh yeah, Ned can wipe a party by himself. So that's where Tyrion's ability really shines. Now, there's also other ways to look at this ability usage as well. I also have somebody else that works very well with Tyrion in my party, and that's Daenerys. Daenerys does an AoE that hits all enemies, and her move is... Let me see it here. Her move is a fast, which means it regenerates really quickly. But let's say you give her a boost to her stamina gain. Oh, wow. Well, then she's really fast. She charges up super fast. And when you put Tyrion's ability on her, she can pop off her skill multiple times per battle. I mean, if you get a good board with quite a bit of red on it, she can do her skill 3 and 4 times per battle with Tyrion's ability put on her. So yeah, that's a very valid use as well. Me personally, I like to go the Ned route because in the party that I build my party with a lot of AoE. As you can tell, every character in my party has an AoE attack, which means that they can hit the whole enemy party with their attack. When I take Tyrion's ability and put it on my super tank Ned, now everybody in my party has an AoE attack, and that makes my party brutal. It makes my party wipe enemy parties fast and efficiently. When I'm hitting them all and I'm doing a good chunk of damage to them all, and I have 5 characters that load up skills that can do that, I end up wiping teams that are way above my power level. And people that are at my power level are just no challenge to me in PvE, in the campaign. I wipe stuff really fast with this party. So it's really fun. And that's all due to Tyrion. That's all due to this guy right here. So as you can see, I'm only 3 stars on him, and I'm 13 of 70 stars to be able to get that 4th star. I'm actually seriously considering putting everything I have into getting him another star the next time he comes around, because he's just that good. Excuse me. He's just that good, and he's been in my party since day one. I've focused so much effort on Daenerys that every time he comes around, I've already burned all my tokens, and I just really don't have any to spend on him is the problem. Why he's not already 4 stars. Because at 3 stars, he's very good. At 3 stars, he is very viable. Right now, the strength of my party is getting to the point that everybody is 4 star and maxed out at 4 star, and he's kind of lagging behind. So he's the one that I'm really going to think about focusing on if I keep him in the party. Going forward, when I get up to the top tier of content, it may be time to go ahead and let Tyrion go for a more synergistic party. Because right now I don't have a synergistic party really. I mean, I have a little bit of fire going on, but the biggest synergy I have is the AoE. Everybody has an AoE. So at some point, Tyrion's probably going to get slotted out for somebody that carries on the fire synergy or plays nice with Rhaenyra, like Kristen or something like that. But for now, he's still in my party. He's still doing work. He is amazing. And as you can see, he seems to be somebody that people can actually get all 5 subclass pieces for. I don't know what it is about Tyrion. I don't know if they coded him to be one that everybody can get gear for, but usually when we talk about subclass gear drops and everybody's like, oh, I'm 1 or 2 short and I can't get the 5 I need, a lot of times people say, well, my Tyrion has got all 5 pieces of his subclass gear. So there's something to that, but I just don't know what yet, because we haven't been able to totally nail that down yet. So as you can tell, obviously the smartest thing to do with somebody like Tyrion is max the weapon immediately. And you can see I've got multiple of the gold bars. So for my account, this is something that's totally gettable. 1,305 attack, 1,305 defense, and 2,794 hit points get added to your Tyrion by maxing out this piece. And then you can have, other things like fine cord attire, silver necklace, lush bouquet, and the City Watch Guard. A lot of these items don't really feel good on Tyrion because it doesn't really feel good for him to wear a dress and wear a necklace and carry a lush bouquet. But I'm not going to sweat it because it doesn't change his appearance in game, so it's not something I have to constantly look at. I just need those bonuses, basically, is what I need. I have seen legendary gear for him that drops for a lot of people. I have not received a piece yet, but if I did get a piece, I would definitely slot it on him, even if it wasn't the right color bonus, or even if it wasn't the right subclass bonus. I would put it on him anyway. If it was a strategist piece, it would more than likely go on him or Daenerys. I'm not really sure which one. It would just depend on what it is, type of thing. But for gear, he is totally doable for gear. Now, one other thing that you may want to keep in mind is his ally ability. Obviously, if you know the HBO show, you know Tyrion's friendship with Bronn was really cool plot point and direction that they took the show. I really liked the way they fleshed those two characters out and had them interact together. It was really fun to watch and listen to. That cracked me up. They have an ally ship together. So Bronn is a sellsword for hire, and whenever you have him and Tyrion in your party together, the vertical power-ups are replaced with this special one, paid to kill gem. When activated, this gem deals 300% attack physical damage to an enemy marked with Bronn's dagger. So to make this pay off, you have to have Tyrion and Bronn in your party. You have to have used Bronn's ability to mark an opponent with Bronn's dagger. And then you get this gem put out on the board, and when you use it, it does 300% attack physical damage to that person that's marked with Bronn's dagger. That's pretty good. It's not the best of the ally gems that I've seen, but it's definitely something that if you have Tyrion and you have Bronn and you want to use them together, go for it, because it's powerful, so it will pay off. Tyrion is the Lannister faction, so he can also be useful in a Lannister team, which can be very powerful. Basically, they do the exact opposite of what the Starks do. So it's kind of the same thing as the Stark synergy, just coming at it from the back door. Instead of causing enemies to gain stamina slower, they cause the enemies to use more stamina to use their skill. Oh, sorry. I dropped something. That scared my dog to death. Sorry, baby. Okay. But anyway, that causes enemies to use more stamina. And it's basically the same thing as the Stark ability, like I'm saying. You're causing more stamina to be used in one form or another. Either they don't get enough or they have to use too much. And that's what this does. With 3 Lannisters, it causes 5% more stamina to be used. 4 Lannisters, enemy skills require 10% more stamina to use, and 5 team members requires 20% more stamina to be used. As far as the faction abilities go, I'm just going to say that I think this one is not really as strong as it could be. I have a feeling that one day they will go in there and they will bump these up by about 5% each, probably, so that 3 team members starts at 10 and then, etc., 4 and 5. I have a feeling they're going to raise this at some point, because this is really just not as big of an effect as the Stark is. It's not a big of an effect as some of the other faction bonuses. So while a Lannister team can be very strong and very powerful, I think their faction ability will get bumped up in the future, because I just don't think it's where it needs to be. But we'll see on that one. And obviously Tyrion is a purple color affinity, so you want to think about that in your party's composition. Do you have a good spread of the colors if you're somebody that cares about a rainbow team? If you're not worried about that, then Do you have too many purples in your team? I guess is what you would consider next. The only other thing that's really important about that color affinity is, and I have teams that have multiple color of the same color in them, and it's not really that big a deal, honestly. I wouldn't get so hung up on the rainbow thing that I had to have one of each in my party, and it just crippled me with fear if I couldn't make it happen. I wouldn't let that bother you. Because if you have two purples in your team, what that does is when you match purple, they both get stamina at the same time and they both charge their skills up faster. That's fine. That's great. One thing you may want to consider, though, is placement in your party. If you have another purple in your party, put them on opposite ends of the board. Don't be that guy that puts them both right together so that when your enemy does a strike that is strong against purple, like a yellow strike, they both get hit with that attack. Spread them out in your team's composition, one on the left, one on the right, or at least put a couple players in between them to where they both don't take that powerful strike together. So that was just a little extra tip there. So this has been the deep dive on Tyrion Lannister. I hope you've enjoyed the first of the Hero Deep Dive series. I am going to continue this with other characters, but like I said, I just wanted to spend some time playing the game and learning them before I actually went into detail talking about them and their skill uses, because I didn't want to come off as somebody that was just trying to throw content out there and didn't care. I do care about my content, and I want it to mean something, and I want it to come from a place of knowledge, not just worried about views and members, because I could, subscriptions. I could care less about that. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I never ask for people to subscribe to my channel because that's just not what I'm about. If you like my content, you will, and then that's great, and I love you as my subscription holder. So another thing I do want to take the time to throw out there while I have the chance, something else that is very important to me is my Discord community. It's growing like crazy. We have people joining every single day, and the members love it. I mean, they tell me all the time this is the greatest community for Game of Thrones Legends that they've ever seen. So I want to give you the chance to take part in that. Look in my description of every video I have for the link to the Discord community, and you're welcome to join us and have a good time hanging out, talking about the game, theory crafting, strategizing, getting some advice on party builds, just working on stuff together, trying to break the loot drop code, and we do all kinds of cool stuff together. We have some good resources there on the Discord, like Excel sheets that list all the players available and what their skills are and all that kind of interesting stuff. So join the Discord community and be part of a growing community that has a great time talking about the game. So I'll give you the rest of your day back now, and I just want to tell you thank you for watching my content. I really, really appreciate